Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this interview series. Today I'm speaking with Dr. Jeremy Katz. He is a graduate from University of Western States Chiropractic. He teaches he also teaches at the school, or has for a few years. He teaches this fantastic micro breaks ergonomics class around town at some different companies, and he's going to teach that to us today. So Jeremy, why don't you tell us a little about yourself? And
thank you very much for having these interviews. Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Katz. That's a pretty great introduction. I don't have much more to say about that, but my practice is called Writer's Reign Chiropractic. It's on Northwest 25th and Lovejoy. And here we're a holistic health center treating people, not symptoms. So come and check us out and see what we do. It'd be great. And I'm happy to share a lot about this lecture today because this is something I'm very passionate about. And all of you, I assume, use computers, and those computers aren't built for humans. So we're going to show you how to set up a day to counteract a lot of the sitting postures that we all have.
Yes.
And we're doing pretty good, but we can always do better. So we're trying to figure it out. This is a really easy routine. I think it'll be pretty easy for everyone to do. And nothing here is expensive or difficult to set up in almost any space.
Okay.
Because that's who I am.
This is great. I don't have this little setup that he has, and I'm thinking I really need to get one.
It's $40. I'll talk a little bit about it. It's very inexpensive. I think for $50 you can set up a desk better than where it is right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this. So get ready. You may need to pause and rewatch them a couple of times just to make sure you get everything, because there's going to be a lot of good stuff here. So
totally.
I'm going to just step out and let Jeremy take over.
Okay. Hey, how's it going? So the first thing we're going to talk about today is the chair. Chairs need to have some specific features. Mostly, they need to be able to rise up and down. You want to make sure that your legs are level on the ground, not raised up too high or too low. The second thing that sometimes chairs will have is some chairs have a hard end or a soft end. You want chairs to have a nice cushion because hard surfaces are kind of tough on the body. You start to kind of form your body around them. So soft seats. The next thing you're going to want to think about is the lumbar support. That's this part of the desk here. It should be fitting in your lumbar spine, which is this part of your back. So here I go. I'm sitting in my chair. A lot of times what we see when people are sitting in their chairs, they're not even contacting the back. They're very focused on their work. They're in this kind of upright, erect position, as opposed to this is another position we see a lot of people doing when they're at the work. Okay. One thing that's really important to know is that sustained static postures are just as deleterious to the back as high energy strains, like in a muscle contraction injury, maybe like a car accident or a sport injury. Both of those injuries, the static one that's slow and long or the fast one that's more traumatic, have a lot of deleterious effects to the back. So we're trying to prevent that kind of thing. So next thing you want to do is scoot your tush all the way to the back. Get that lumbar support very well centrated in the lumbar part of your spine. The next thing you're going to want to make sure your desk has is seat or hand rests that raise up and down to make sure that your hands aren't too high. In this position right here, you can see that my hands are a little too high. That's not appropriate. It raises my shoulders up. 90 degrees is what the elbow should be at. So kind of in line and parallel to the table or the ground. That makes sense? Okay. Next thing you want to know is how to sit in the seat. This is going to be a pretty easy thing to describe. Here's my skeleton right here. Notice how the skeleton has his ears and his shoulders and his elbows and his hips in one line. This is true alignment. Good luck doing that. No one can do that, but you're going to try to go for that, okay? So as opposed to this kind of posture, my head is leaning forward in front of my shoulders and I'm bending at the back, we want to pull it back. So my ears, my shoulders, and my elbows are in line. And if this was fully in screen, you can also see that my ears, shoulders, and hips are in line, okay? Super important way to sit. So we talked about the chair, we talked about the armrests. Now let's talk a little bit about how to set up the desk itself. So the first thing I want to talk about is the screen, okay? This little device is $40. It's on Amazon. It's just a series of little shelves that raise and lower a computer, usually a computer like this, these small ones, laptops. So I really recommend this. You want to bring your computer screen within arm distance of your eyes, right about here. Okay, this is perfect. You don't want it to be really, really close or really, really far, because you have neck changes that occur over time, and that just causes more strain. Okay, next thing is height. You want your nose to be in the center of the screen, but you want your eyes to be focused in the top third. That keeps your head level and not twisted in any direction. If you're one of those people that has multiple screens, as I'm sure a lot of you are, put those two screens as close together as possible. You don't want to have to constantly be shifting your neck back and forth, okay? Should make pretty good sense. I bought this little wireless keyboard because you're not supposed to be typing up here, right? You want your elbows level. We kind of talked about that with how to sit. So when you're in the right posture, all the workstation is supposed to fit you inside of it, right? It should make sense. So this was another 10 or 15 bucks. So now I have this close to me. Technically, you should have a nice soft surface or pad. I don't have one of those. I should probably get one, but you know, one day. Can't do it all, right? The next thing you want is a mouse pad. Track pads are fine. The rollerball pads are fine. I like this kind of mouse. Again, I got it from Amazon. It was just easy and cheap. If you're noticing and you're doing a lot of drawing and you're moving your hands all over the surface, go ahead and increase the speed of the trackball so that you don't have to make such big movements with your arms. You can make teeny tiny movements. That's a little bit safer. So we talked about that. We talked about the monitor. Now let's talk about probably the most important thing. So the most important chair and the most important workstation is one that you're not at. So after every 20 or 30 minutes, you need to get up out of your chair. If you're seated, get up out of your chair. If you're at a standing desk, sit down. Regardless of what you're doing, every 30 minutes is a micro break. That doesn't mean 60 seconds of doing nothing. That really means focused time to get up out of your space, go seek natural light, take a short walk, get some water, go to the bathroom, whatever you got to do. I'm a pretty hyper guy, so sitting for a long period of time doesn't happen anyway, but maybe you're not like that. And in that case, you'll want to maximize the time that you have during that break to get the most benefit from not sitting on your ass. So let's talk about that. So here I am. I just sat in my office for 30 minutes doing charts, or maybe it was 2.5 hours. And all of a sudden I'm feeling achy. My adage is, if you're achy, take a breaky. So get up out of your seat and change position. A lot of times you see this kind of posture going on almost all day, on a phone, on the computer, weighing back here. So as opposed to this posture, which is in my opinion a posture of fear and tiredness and not wanting to take on the day, we're going to open it up and be a big, bright posture, wide open. So there's a couple things you want to focus on. First, make sure to stand with your hips or with your legs about hip distance apart. Turn them outward so your toes are facing out. The next thing you're going to want to do is kind of the yoga thought is elongate the neck and elongate the spine, okay? The next thing I do is I put my hand on my chest, I put my hand on my belly, and I take a deep breath. Now, you're going to see my belly now because that's where you should be breathing from. So take a deep breath and let it out. If you're feeling most of your breath on the top, you're breathing kind of inappropriately. Most of your breath should be occurring in the belly. So go ahead and try to figure that out. If you can't figure that out, I'm sure there's a lot of people on this interview series that can help you. I'm being one of them. So a couple deep belly breaths. Slows you down, makes you feel good. If that can help on this interview right now. The next thing we're going to want to do is counteract this kind of posture. So we're going to focus our head back to where our shoulders are. We're going to make sure that our spine is nice and tall. We're going to roll our shoulders back and down in our back pockets. And we're not going to extend this way to get that done. We're going to try to use just our muscles. So as opposed to this, we're going to do this. As opposed to contracting 100%, we're going to contract 30%. If you do this correctly and you've never done this, it should feel weird. Don't give up. It will feel better. Trust me. Okay, so here we go. We're going to have our hands up and out. Our shoulder blades are pinned back together, down in the back pocket, and we just take a couple of deep breaths. If you want to further stretch, I'll stand back here to do that. You can go from this position to an overarm stretch, straight up in the air with a little side bending right and left. This seems easy, but if you do this every day, you'll start noticing that the amount of debt you incur while seated at your desk will go down. It will get better. It should seem easy, but it's really valuable. So I think that was a pretty good introduction to how to set up the workplace and how to get up out of the workplace really to kind of reduce the tension that's on your back. Just an aside, if you're feeling soreness, if you're feeling maybe some numbness or tingling, and that lasts for more than about a week or so, generally we consider that an injury. And if that injury isn't getting better, it's time to consider some treatment from somebody.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, I learned some great things. I learned a lot, especially like the nose at the center of your screen and your eyes at that upper third.
Yeah, very
I hadn't realized that before, but it makes a lot of sense. So I love this.
Good.
So, okay, so if you want to get in touch with Jeremy, which you probably should, I think he's a fantastic chiropractor.
Thank you.
How do people get in touch with you?
So the best way to do it, let me just see if the cards show up. Let's see. So the best way to do it is to call our number or to seek me at rightasrainchiro.com. So I'm just going to really see if I can show you that. Let's see.
All right, there you go.
That's my info.
Perfect. And it will also be at the bottom of this email with the interview series. So I suggest you reach out and get in touch with Jeremy. I thank you so much for all of your wisdom and your tips. It's definitely going to make a great impact in your guys' life. So until next time, have a great day.
Take care. Thank you.